Welcome back to Hangtown. It is the Rockstar Energy Drink Hangtown Classic, the 43rd running of this race, which actually predates this, the 40th year of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. We've completed the first 450 moto, and the 250 class is up next. So let's do this the right way. We actually are honored with our 2010 250 class champion, Trey Kennard, is going to join us in the booth for this moto. An historic season for Trey with an amazing comeback in the series championship standings, pulling out the title at our finale last season at Pala in Southern California. Unfortunately, Trey, you're here in the booth because you are not racing the 450 class as originally scheduled due to a leg injury. Welcome to the show, but what's the update here?
Yeah, you know, we're looking at, maybe 3 weeks before we're actually riding again, and from there, it kind of goes in, in quantities of actually, the progress that you make at the time. So hopefully that moves quickly, and I'm back here about midway through the series.
Well, it's great to have you in the booth here. You've got a former teammate here, Eli Tomac, that we're taking a look at. What's your thoughts on today?
I think it's going to be crazy in the lights class. I think you got a lot of young guys that are there that are excited. And I think you got a more experienced Justin Barcia, an experienced Broc Tickle, Tyla Rattray, who was amazing last year and think that is going to be really tough today. A more experienced Dean Wilson and so many other guys. Marvin Musquin, who is kind of the unknown for us Americans over here. He's been proved to win a world championship.
And he was your fastest qualifier. So
shoot, this guy nailed it. We have the big picture, and I think Trey got every one of them figured out. Here are the stories that we're going to be following all day long. First, Eli Tomac won the race last year at Hangtown. That is the former teammate of Trey. Last year they rode together. Then Broc Tickle, who does come in with a lot more experience now that he's won that Supercross championship, as did Justin Barcia, who did it in the lights class on the East. And don't forget some other riders you got to watch for. Today's fastest qualifier was Marvin Musquin, as you mentioned, so I think you nailed it. All the people that were looking at coming in, you got it dialed in.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned Dean Wilson, but he was really impressive to me last year racing him. He just had an experience level that was kind of before his time, I thought.
Yeah, definitely a phenomenal performance in his rookie year. Let's send it down to Aaron on the starting line. Aaron?
Eli Tomac made a huge statement when he won his first pro race here last year, but he said he has matured tremendously, both physically and mentally, since last year's rookie season. He said knowing the tracks is the biggest difference for him. He's able to get a good night's sleep the night before, knowing where he needs to go and who he needs to battle against.
All right, thanks, Aaron. That's a good report down there, the starting line. It's almost impossible to figure out what rider to follow, what rider to talk to. There are so many contenders in this 250 class. Although it was kind of like that at the beginning of the year last year, wasn't it, Trey?
Yeah, I think it's always like that. That the first race, you never really know who's going to be that guy. But, I was talking to Jeff last year here, and he kind of said, get through that first race. Make sure that you get through there steady with an easy shot for the rest of the series. And I think that's what's important for today.
Yeah, I mean, you got to build the foundation. Yeah, I didn't tell you to take 4 races to warm up, because that's when you caught fire, but here we go. Let's go racing.
All right, the 250 riders have completed their sight lap. They know where the lines are. They are on the gate and ready to go racing. Almost impossible to pick a favorite with this group, especially because not only is Trey moving up to the big class, but Christophe Pourcel, who we just saw on the 450, was the other big championship contender last year, so he's no longer in this division as well, Jeff.
Yeah, and you've got all 5 manufacturers represented with riders that can win this moto.
Let's go racing on Field TV. And it's Eli Tomac, last year's hero here at Hangtown, out front again. And that's Malcolm Stewart with him on the outside on the Suzuki City Suzuki. But Tomac picking up where he left off at Hangtown 1 year ago, out front, Jeff.
Looks like, it's Malcolm Stewart challenging. Baggett's up there. You got Seeley.
Gannon Audette, I believe, to the number 3 spot on the Star Racing Yamaha. So what did you say about a whole bunch of different manufacturers? Well, they're all represented up front, but right now it is the Suzuki of Malcolm Stewart in his first ever pro motocross race at this level. He did race Supercross this year, but outdoors, it's his first shot as a pro. He's doing what Tomac did last year. He's leading them around.
Well, and Malcolm was only your 16th fast.
Almost goes down. Holds on. Will they hold on to the lead, though? Side by side with Tomac. Tomac's gonna have the inside of the bottom of this right-hander, but look at Stewart try to shove it in front of him, and he makes it work.
Unbelievable.
talk about a guy that you know just didn't really expect this out of. Man, he is really riding good. You can tell he really wants it right now.
Yeah, so Stewart, yes, that is the younger brother of James Stewart in the lead. Tomac second, and now Cole Seeley up to the number 3 spot. Wilson fourth, Gannon Audette fifth. And it'll be interesting to see Seeley and Tomac. There was a little bit of controversy with those two at the last Supercross in Vegas.
Well, and I mean, Big James and Sonia Stewart have guided their oldest son to becoming a champion. Hey, it could be Malcolm Summer, you know?
Absolutely. Right now, holding the lead. Tomac wants around him in the worst way, but Malcolm just not going to let it happen.
Uh-oh, he may have a little heat here as Tomac goes by and takes the lead.
Yeah, Tomac able to get to the inside. Meanwhile, we're going to show you the replay of the start. I believe it's Ryan Sipes going down here, Jeff. Just mass chaos in the first turn.
Yeah, just look for a blue rider. There they are.
Oh.
And that's why every week one of my keys to the race is to get out of the gate good and get a good start, because get back in there and
there's Sipes cruising.
Just up and going. He's almost a lap down right now as the leader should be coming around the finish line in first turn area.
And Sipes is a real favorite coming into this one. He won the last round of that Supercross Tour 2 weeks ago in Vegas. Tomac in the lead, then it's Stewart under pressure from Wilson.
Yeah, Sipes was their 5th fastest qualifier today, so he definitely was up to speed.
I think that, you know, we're not on Eli Tomac right now, but he's got to have really good feelings about this track. I know for myself, you know, you win a race or you do good at a race, you come back to that track and you almost have that same feel. You know, you're excited, you know you did well there, you know some good lines, and you know, he's got to be feeling good right now.
Oh yeah, I definitely had that, and it was, for me, it was Redbud. Redbud was my go-to track. I knew once I went there that I could get things going, and that's just all the mental side of it. You know, you really, if you just change your attitude and decide that, hey, Hangtown, that's my go-to track. I've never finished good here, but this year, that's going to be my place. It really has so much to do with your thought process.
Malcolm Stewart hold off at Wilson and now Seeley. Go ahead, guys.
I look for Dean Wilson to be good in the second motos. I think that he's really creative with his line choice, and also whenever you get into the bumps and the whoops type areas like this, he seems to be really good about manualing the bike, like right there, hopping there, saving energy there, getting good bumps there.
And you mentioned earlier that you think that Dean Wilson has matured this year. In what ways, you know, being on the 450 and then you're watching the 250 guys, what do you think is different about Wilson this year than last year?
I think he had his stuff together last year, and I think that, you know, that's important I mean, you saw Ryan Dungey, it seemed like he got his stuff together, and it, you know, just always kind of been that way, where Dean Wilson, I think he got it kind of figured out last year, and you know, he definitely went through a tough Supercross series, and I think this is going to be a little bit of I don't want to say redemption, but this is going to be his championship to go after now.
Look at this battle. I'll tell you, Malcolm Stewart sure is stubborn. He doesn't care what the credentials of these guys are, or if it's his first race. He's doing everything he can to hold on to the spot. Finally, Wilson able to knife in front of him on the Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki. So it's Tomac, Wilson, and Stewart now 1, 2, 3.
Well, this is where we're going to get an idea here of what the lap time is. As Tomac goes by, he turns a 2:16. Wilson about half a second slower than that.
Look at Stewart trying to get Wilson back, and they almost came together. Now we're going to right-hand turn, and this is one of the fastest sections of the track as the 139, the rookie, trying to hook onto the sophomore here, Wilson.
Do you think that Malcolm Mookie, do you think that he is going to kind of spin himself? Because he looks like he's using a lot of energy right now.
Yeah, to ride at that pace. I see what you're saying. I mean, makes a tiny mistakes there as he gets bucked going into that tight right-hander. Hey, time will tell. I mean, he's such a good kid. He's really fun to be around. He's starting to show progress here in the pro ranks, and the thing that he doesn't have is experience. And right now there's guys like Cunningham. There you got Rattray, former world champion. I mean, Barcia's back there. They have experience at racing at this level, and Malcolm's going to have to earn that along the way, and hopefully he keeps it on 2 wheels. Hopefully he gets some finishes to build his confidence, right, and to build that belief that he can't run into these guys, because for a lap, he's got the speed. Okay, so he's got those tools.
Woo! Whoa! Well, that's a battle here. Darren Durham, who is 5th, Kyle Cunningham 6th, Blake Baggett 7th, Rattray 8th. Barcia and Musquin round out the top 10. So basically, we're looking at 5 through 10 of the same section of track.
That was giving me arm pump just watching that buck that Durham got there.
We're at 23 minutes.
Cole Seeley now rolling up on Stewart to try to take over the number 3 spot.
I'm telling you, I'm glad that Trey's in the booth with us because I'm pumping up right now. I may not make it this whole moto. My fitness is not there. Okay?
I'm here if you need to tag me in.
Okay.
Didn't know this is a team race. Stewart gonna have to run the wide bike again, try to hold off Seeley. That's one thing you're gonna learn about racing here. The Supercross Tour, we divide the 250 class up between east and west, so you essentially only have half of the competition. Here, everyone races together, and he rides it again, and this time takes the wheels almost completely out from Seeley.
That was a scary place. You know, there's that drop-off on the back. You kind of lose it coming off that. That might not be good.
Yeah, and there's, I believe it was the Lucas Oil banner there, but then beyond that, there's another drop-off. So it's kind of a double step down. That's going to accelerate the heart rate a little bit right there for Seeley.
Take us through this here, Trey.
Yeah, you see Seeley here. He's trying to set up Malcolm right here. Brings in some momentum, and Malcolm just doesn't let off. And yeah, kind of a scary situation. But, you know, that was nothing wrong on either rider's part. You know, Malcolm just didn't want him to pass him.
Well, look at this. Dean Wilson hooking up now and going after Eli Tomac. He kind of figured Tomac gets the lead. He's comfortable here. He might have pulled away. Not only Wilson, but I'm seeing Kyle Cunningham in the number 3 spot hanging with the leader as well. So 8 minutes into this moto, we've got a long way to go. Actually, I believe that is Sipes. That's Sipes a lap down. On the 25, Cunningham a few spots back. So Sipes, he's already probably out of the points in this moto. He's out of the top 20. 1 lap back after 3 laps complete for Sipes. That's a big disappointment for him.
Yeah, but to make the best of this moto, Sipes, if he's feeling all right and there's no injury from that, if he's not shaken up, now's the chance. Okay, I may be a lap down, but if I get it together and I try to run this moto with the leaders, okay, now I'm going to get the pace and I'm going to be ready for the second moto.
All right, it's a 2-man battle up front. That's not Kyle Cunningham, that's Ryan Sipes. So it's down to Wilson and Tomac up front early here live on Fuel TV. Just getting started. Stay with us.
Simon Cowell's The X Factor is coming to Fox if you're 12 or over.
We got a battle on our hands here at Hangtown. First 250 moto, Eli Tomac not able to pull away like he did here last year. He has got Dean Wilson all over him, Jeff.
Wilson getting a little drive here. Let's see if he can find some momentum around the outside.
Oh, it's going to be close.
He's
Can he
got it.
squeeze him, and he makes it happen. Dean Wilson has caught and passed Eli Tomac.
Wow, let's take a look at this replay. Trey, what are you seeing here?
What I was thinking with this bumped section, I was thinking that Wilson was going to be really good through here with the manlying and getting over the bumps really well. And you see him brings a lot of momentum down, keeps the front end light, and gets over those bumps really well and just brings it down with a lot more momentum. Has a good line on the outside and makes a pass. What
a great shot that was, because it showed just how many ruts and all the bumps headed down that hill. And not only does he make the pass, and then he gaps Eli there and gives him some breathing room. He's got about 1.5 seconds on him right now.
Well, you said it might be the second moto where he's shot it, but it's already happening for Wilson.
I think the track is so rough, you know, just watching it, watching it really doesn't do it justice. And when you can see the bumps, even on the TV, you know that it's really rough. And like Jeff was saying earlier, the track's consistency is not there either.
Yeah, this is the section here headed down that downhill. Here comes
Sipes still a lap down,
Sipes,
just to confuse me.
But he's hanging with the leaders, and his lap time's pretty good.
Baggett is actually in 4th place now, so he has gotten around both Malcolm Stewart and Cole Seeley. Here is Seeley now, who is in the number 4 spot. And look at this battle. Barcia going after Durham. Then there's Kyle Cunningham, Malcolm Stewart in the middle of that.
2 laps ago, Barcia was 10th.
Yeah.
Now he's up to 7th.
And in the back of that train, you got Musquin and Rattray. So lots of big hitters. Look at this. Mistake by Barcia. Cunningham going to try to get him.
And Seeley was off the track. That's why he's lost so much time. That's going to allow Durham, Barcia, who else? Cunningham, Rattray, everybody to close up. So Durham is really going to be under some pressure. I'm sorry, Seeley.
Well, Durham is as well, to be honest. And this is classic 250 class racing. Look at this battle.
And that's going to allow Stewart up to the number 4 spot as Seeley goes back. Wow.
Seeley on the inside, Durham on the outside. Barcia right behind Seeley. Durham is in the sandwich right now as he tries to make one pass and avoid getting passed by another. And Durham on the 1110 Mods Honda, that's a privateer bike, takes over the spot.
I think Seeley's really got to do damage control right now because he's lost one spot. It's so critical for him to keep in the momentum with the riders. You lose one spot, it turns into just a giant snowball. You lose 5-6 positions.
Well, I hate to bring you back to this, but a year ago at Hangtown, you got the lead in the first moto, and once you got in a battle like this, it was tough.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say is, you know, you lose that momentum, you lose the confidence, and it turns into just a bad day. So.
All right, so Durham is now up to third. Seeley, Barcia battling it out. This is incredible racing. Barcia's got the pass made. He's going after Durham. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, and I thought at the top of that hill that I see Malcolm Stewart down. And yes, as they come around, Stewart now drops to 9th as he was down in that same turn where he got together with Seeley earlier. So that's going to put him back when he had a nice, solid top 5 ride going.
Barcia going for second. Durham is going to beat him to the punch. And huge bounce on the downhill for Durham, and he still holds off Barcia.
Well, almost takes Barcia with him there with the mistake, but there's 3 different Honda teams represented in that battle there.
Oh, and Barcia tries it again. Durham proving very stubborn here in the number 3 spot. Remember, Barcia was about 10th just a few laps ago. Climbed all the way up to 4th. Wants a podium spot. It might be too late for him to go after your leaders, Tomac and Wilson, but in this series, we do 2 motos. We'll be back later today to race another 30-minute plus 2-lap event.
You know what I like about Justin Barcia right now is I think that, you know, if you saw him in 09, his rookie year, and then you watch him now, he's a lot more composed, and I think that's going to help him as far as the fitness side of things, and also, you know, in the championship side of things, you know, he's not going to make dumb mistakes and really ruin his chances. But you see Durham.
He's all over the place. Durham was off the track once again. Lucky that he not only kept the position, but also that he didn't get into Barcia there when he came back on the track.
And another huge
brutal
kick
right now, though. Man,
I can't believe Durham's hanging on to this thing.
Yeah,
a couple big mistakes in this lap.
His bike does, you know, I'm not to bash on anybody, but, you know, he doesn't look too comfortable. He's had a lot of kicks and a lot of problems, and that could be, you know, some of the lines that he's hitting and also just a lack of testing time. But
well, I mean, and this is the first round. Each team is going to learn something. Even the team that wins here and the bike that wins, they're still going to try to improve it next week, right? Try to take something and learn from it.
Yeah, I think this race also, you know, like I was saying earlier, like you were telling me last year, to take some things from this race, get through this race, and give yourself a shot for the rest of the series. But, you know, you're going to learn so much from that first race that can help you, and I think it's, you know, really showing that, you know, that haven't had a whole lot of time to really get that bike dialed. But, you know, with the track being as rough as it is, I don't think that any bike is really going to work especially great.
Yeah, but, I mean, look at Durham right now. Just turned a 2:18.4, a little bit off of Wilson and Tomac are turning 2:17s, but Durham, you know, basically as fast as any rider out there, is running a top 3 here, well, at least for the moment.
What is that move from Barcia on the inside? Taking the leg off. He couldn't make the pass here a lap ago. He's going to try it this time. Durham has proved stubborn, and he still manages to hold off Barcia. Unbelievable race between these two.
Well, and this is the stuff here as Barcia's trying to work his way through those incredibly deep ruts. You know, he's putting out a lot of effort. He's trying to make his way past Durham because he's passed all these other riders. He's got the momentum, but Durham has just been stingy with this top 3 position.
Well, Durham, I think, on the list of all the contenders we thought, I don't know, when we were saying 10 or 12 riders could win, I don't know if people were thinking Durham. He missed a lot of races in Supercross with a broken foot. He's in a privateer team. But I'll tell you what, he doesn't care about the credentials or what kind of bike Barcia's on. He's going to fight him for this podium spot.
He's kind of calmed down, it looks like. You know, before he's had a lot of mistakes, but kind of looks a little more composed.
Yeah, but I tell you, he's got that camera on the top of his helmet too, so he's going to go back after this moto and get a chance to watch his own laps, and he's going to see some moments in there that he'd rather not replay.
Dean Wilson has about a 2.5-second lead over Eli Tomac. We're past the halfway point in this moto. Will he be the first winner in the 250 class this year? You're going to have to keep watching to find out. Who doesn't like celebrities, comedy, and music? The Daily Habit is your destination for the hottest stars, comics, and cutting-edge musical acts on TV. Watch it weeknights, 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, only on Fuel TV. Give me an update on your 2-time and would have been defending champion in the GPs over in Europe, but deciding to move to the U.S. this year and making a good run of it so far in his first race here, Jeff.
Marvin Musquin from France.
Nicely done.
Yeah, and lap times are pretty good. He just turned to 2:18.8 right there with the leader. And we had an interesting conversation. He was telling us about the difference between his bike that he rides for the GPs and the Grand Prix versus the bike here for the U.S. Their sound, the decibel level's much lower, and they run a different gasoline. And he says this bike here by far has more horsepower, than what he rides in the GP. So he likes riding it.
He's at 5th. Let's go back to this battle for 3rd. Durham and Barcia still going at it. And it closes up. They pull back away from each other. It closes up again, but Durham's definitely hanging.
And I tell you who's closing up also is in 6th is Blake Baggett, turned to 2:17.2. Musquin was the 2:18.8, but it seems like they're all 4 are in this shot.
Absolutely.
Durham off the track once again. He found a smooth line down the inside.
He's definitely pushing the envelopes out there. Here comes Baggett up for Musquin, and they're all over Barcia.
And the yellow stakes that you see there sticking up, that is the track. That's the guidelines. If you go off the track, you have to re-enter in a safe place, but you really can't gain an advantage.
All 4 of these riders have a shot at the podium in this moto. Durham is 3rd, but it's close between all 4, Trey.
I'm really interested in how Musquin's ride. I think that, what we experienced the last couple years with Purcell, he doesn't really look like he's trying too much, but he's still making up time and finding really good lines on the track. I haven't seen Musquin ride very much, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. He's, not too flashy, nothing too seriously eye-catching, but, just a smooth, fluid rider, and you can see it paying off.
Well, last year when we went to the Motocross of Nations, you were the U.S. champion. He was the world champion. You were really looking forward to racing him? I presume that it didn't quite turn out like that, but
yeah, it was unfortunate. I think he had some bike problems, but I got to race Ken Roxon, who obviously was a huge threat in the Supercross series this year. Man, the style of racing for those guys and for us is just completely different. You see the differences here. You see Baggett, who is really aggressive, and then you kind of see Musquin, who's kind of really fluid and doesn't look like he's putting much effort out, but going just as fast.
Lap times are great. This battle,
Baggett
just getting in there.
What a battle. Yeah, Baggett's going to get him. So earlier in the moto, Baggett was ahead. Musquin had a pass. Now Baggett's going to get him back. They're right behind Barcia, who's right behind Durham. 6 minutes and 2 laps to go. What a race.
Wait, at one point, Baggett was ahead of Durham and Barcia, and now there's like a resurgence here where he's got it together, got his heart rate in check, his breathing, possible any arm pump or any issue that he had, got his concentration back, and he's focused on putting in some great laps. And Baggett, 2:17.6, Barcia, or Durham was a 2:20, Barcia 2:21, Musquin a 2:18, so Baggett actually the fastest lap of anyone last lap.
Gotta love this 250 class. You just can't count on anything. One guy moves forward, one guy moves back, then they regroup. Meanwhile, Tomac, Wilson, only about 2 seconds separating them up front, so many things to watch. Let's keep an eye out on Baggett going after Barcia.
I think it's really important for Barcia to get around Durham. Well, Durham pulling away. But those two they're racing each other, and you can see these guys kind of coming up.
Yeah, and that's what I spoke about earlier. Barcia was kind of letting it all hang out. He wanted to get past Durham, made the attempts, but it didn't happen.
Here's Baggett. Baggett going from outside to inside. Let's see how this pays off at the finish of this section. He's got the spot. So Baggett able to make 2 passes. Is that what you're alluding to, Trey? That Barcia couldn't get around Durham, and now he's falling into the clutches a bit?
Yeah, I think that, not that he wasted time, but he put a lot of effort into getting around him, and I think he maybe could have, I think, I probably would have passed him had Durham not made that mistake and almost took up both of them down. But
yeah, but I mean, you get into that situation, and Barcia had all this momentum, and now he's lost another spot, but you had all of this momentum going, and then you kind of stall out when you're having trouble getting past another rider.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of saying. You run into a rider, you can't get around him, you're kind of sticking to his pace, and there goes your momentum, and all of a sudden you got 2 guys on you.
There goes Baggett. Baggett's passed 3 riders in a lap, and is now up to 3rd.
And that's the momentum. If you can do that, bam, 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 make it happen. Barcia was unable to make that happen. He stalled out there, and I don't want to take anything away from Durham's ride because this is a fantastic ride.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But Baggett here, that was kind of executed, that stuff, just made it happen.
Aaron, what do you have on Blake Baggett?
Well, guys, he was last year's rookie, and he also said that he's made some big changes this year. He expects to be in that top 3 or a win, and he is definitely confident. But the biggest thing that he took from last year is he wants to capitalize on other people's mistakes instead of other people capitalizing on his mistakes. So I think we're going to see a resurgence here from Blake Baggett.
You know, in the preseason testing, I heard that, you know, the Pro Circuit team, they'll have all their riders who are all fast. You know, they'll battle for fast lap time. And so what I was hearing on the inside is that anytime Baggett needed to go out and get the fast lap of the day, he could do it. And that's against guys like Wilson and Rattray and Broc Tickle. Oh, no, Durham, his fourth is down.
There goes Seeley, who was in 8th, so that's going to put him 8th right now.
Oh, terrible. One of those great rides that's not going to show up now in the results. Was 3rd and then 4th.
Well, now
he's got company. Yeah,
but he's got to regroup right now. He's got Cunningham here behind him and something like that. So you kind of see him standing up on the bike there.
We got a replay here, Jeff. Take us through what happened to Durham. He's right behind Musquin.
Take it, Trey. You're the guest.
Yeah, you see him coming in and gets that little kick, which leaves him unbalanced, and then he loses his hand due to trying to miss that lap rider. But man, it's such a bummer for him. And then you see Barcia going over the ruts, possibly losing a little more time. But
yeah, it looked like he was committed to the inside, and the lap rider was there. He couldn't squeeze around the outside. So.
Meanwhile, Dean Wilson, we have not seen him in a while because he is weathered the storm. It looked like Tomac gave another little push, got to within 2 seconds. Now Wilson has pulled it back out to 4.5. That's the gap. Can Dean Wilson win the first race of the year? Find out. We'll be right back. Listen up, action sports fans. It's the world's greatest skateboarding event on the planet, and it's coming to you live from the Big Apple. Watch the Maloof Money Cup from New York City, Saturday, June 4th and Sunday, June 5th, live at 4 p.m. Eastern, only on Fuel TV. Jeff?
Well, as we're back looking at the 57 here of Blake Baggett, the last 2 laps, he turned a 2:17.3, now a 2:17.7. Our leader, Wilson, who's having a fantastic race, was only at a 2:20. So Baggett, by far the fastest rider on the track.
That battle has settled down a bit. Musquin is all low now in 4th. And now Tyla Rattray, who have not seen much of, is taking advantage of some mistakes by Durham, some mistakes by Barcia. He is all alone, but he's in the top 5, so that's not bad for the first moto of the year.
this guy is so solid. I remember racing him last year. You know, if you were having that bad race where you know you're just kind of struggling, floundering around through the past few laps, and you knew this guy was coming. I mean, it doesn't matter where he starts. It seems like he just keeps tracking along every lap.
Yeah, he kind of has, to me, he kind of has that Mike LaRocco style of just, you know, on the tough days like this, and especially this second moto, this is going to be the guy to look for, because when it gets more physically demanding, and it's just, I mean, you really have to man up. It was Mike LaRocco in my era that you were going, okay, this guy is the one to watch for the second moto.
Rattray is a former champ over in the Grand Prix Tour of Europe as well. His third year in the U.S. Struggled a bit in his debut in 2009, but was solid in 2010. Actually finished second in the series standings when it was all said and done. And Trey, with you now out of the class, a lot of people think the 28 could be the favorite. He might not be the fastest guy every week, but in 24 motos, 12 rounds, you know he's going to be there week in and week out.
And also he has a championship figured out, you know, with the World Championship in 2008, I believe.
Yep.
You know, he knows how to put together, and last year with, you know, finishing second, he knows how to put the championships together. And, you know, I think that it's going to be a long series, and I think that he will be one of the guys that really shines towards the end.
Now, taking a look at the track here in this moto, trying to compare it to last year, how physically demanding is it? And does it look rougher than last year, different?
I think it looks different. I think that the soil, the things that they put on, the rice, whatever, the rice holes, whatever you're saying, but I think that really softened it up. And I know that they've had an extreme amount of rain here this year as well, and I think it's really made that ground a lot more soft. And I think that has a lot to do with the bigger braking bumps, and then, you know, that stuff kind of pushing off, and you can see kind of, you got the big bumps, and then where it's pushed off, you start to get this little chatter, I think, and that makes for a really tough track.
Well, you got that right. But Wilson so far, little less than 2 to go. Weege is out front, looking good. He's now got 8 seconds over second, which is Eli Tomac.
I think it really shows, again, how deep this field is. All the contenders people were talking about, Barcia and Broc Tickle with the Supercross titles coming in. Musquin and Rattray have won championships in Europe. Tomac, who won this race last year, almost got overshadowed a little bit, the number 15 in Dean Wilson, who didn't have the Supercross tour he wanted, but he's back in the spotlight now. And
I tell you, our leaders have got to be happy that there's a little less than 2 to go, because Baggett last lap around was a 2:17.4, so that's 3 2:17s in a row.
He's not that far back.
When everyone else is 2:20 or higher.
So a good 3 seconds a lap quicker than the 2 riders in front of him. You're right, Jeff. He might just run out of time. But he's in the picture.
Yeah, but he fell back in the beginning, middle part of this race. It seemed like he's regrouped, which is kind of uncommon. You know, you don't really see a rider regroup and like come back like this. But boy, Baggett,
he's got that momentum right now. You know, when he got around that group, Durham and Musquin and Barcia, he's got a lot of momentum coming off that. So these guys, you know, not that, you know, there's much time for it, but if he absolutely, you know, if these guys make a mistake, he catches up to him. He's got that momentum. These guys need to make sure they put in a strong last 2 laps.
All right, we're headed toward the white flag. Last lap for Wilson. Shouldn't be a problem for him. It's a little bit closer, though, between Tomac and Baggett. All right, so Dean Wilson actually rode well here last year, but had a crash midway through the first moto, so his results didn't really show it. But he's obviously comfortable on this track. Look at this. Baggett is within a few bike lengths of Tomac with a lap to go.
A 2:14.2 out of Blake Baggett. A 2:14. Wilson 2:19. Tomac a 2:18. That's incredible. He has got the mojo working. He's got the lines on the track. He's got it figured out, and he's using it to his advantage. And Eli Tomac is going to have to be tough on this last lap, or that 2:14 is just going to blow right by.
Well, if you saw the graphic at the top of the screen, that's the fastest lap that anyone has put in this race. And Jeff, talk about how difficult that is to do on the last lap.
Well, he's had the ability to get out there and search for lines when he was in that pack of riders, and he's definitely found something. Watch what he's doing here to the inside. Gonna get chopped a little. No!
Unbelievable. Tomac, nothing he could do. Just Baggett's on a rail, and he takes over second. He had a massive gap to make up, and he has done that.
And look at Baggett, how he's staying. He's riding totally different lines than everyone else. He's really zigzagging around to find the smooth line where he can really put the power down.
He's got this track figured out. He must have crashed, or, man, I can't see him fading like this, and then all of a sudden, you know, making this turnaround. And man, I'm just really impressed with this. He's got, man, that mojo, that flow, that rhythm around this track that's really hard to find on a day like today.
Well, what a confidence builder that would be, Trey, going into the second moto, knowing that, hey, I've got this figured out. I'm happy with the bike, and a happy rider, right, is a fast rider.
Yeah, and it's really, you know, for him, it would set the tone for the season. You know, he starts it off right. You know, you don't have to build that confidence. You got it right from the bat.
Well, we always seem to sing the praises of this team, Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki. I guess we're going to have to do it again, because their riders are 1-2 on the final lap of this first moto. Confidence builder for Baggett for sure, but what can you say about Dean Wilson? He took it to Eli Tomac, and it looks like he's going to take the checkered flag in this one if he can hang on for a few more corners. Great performance for the 15.
Yeah, I mean, just look at him, you know, just on cruise mode, just soaking it in, really put in his work in the beginning, and kind of rode it out from there.
Good start for the championship chase for sure. They will score max points. Dean Wilson wins the first 250 moto of the year at Hangtown, and Blake Baggett, he even made it a race there. Only 4.5 seconds between them. It was 20 just a few laps ago. Tomac going to take third. That's a podium, but I'm sure he's not happy about getting run down like that. We'll be back to talk to all 3 of these riders when we return on Fuel TV.
It's back. The world's greatest.
Back at Hangtown, opening round of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship, the Rockstar Energy Drink Classic at Hangtown, and we've got a first moto winner on the podium. Dean Wilson is with Aaron Bates. Aaron?
Dean Wilson picked up right where he left off with that final race. Dean, coming in, you said that you didn't have the speed that you thought you needed. Do you retract that statement, or did you change something up?
I don't know. I mean, I actually didn't come off to that great of a start, and just picked my way through the pack really fast, and going to the lead, and about halfway through, my stomach was just killing me. Like, it was tightening up really bad. And I just don't think my food digested from when I ate earlier. So that was really sore, but my bike was awesome. I'd like to thank Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki, Thor, Dunlop, my mechanic Paul, my mom and dad, my family here from Scotland, Toyota Escondido for my sick truck, Dirt Shark, Scott, anybody else I forgot, thank you so much.
Way to start off the first moto of the season.
All right, thanks, Aaron and Dean. Let's give you the results here from the first moto at Rockstar Energy Drink National Hangtown. Wilson, Baggett, Tomac on the podium. Good debut in the U.S. for Musquin, 4th. Rattray, 5th. Barcia, Seeley, Cunningham. Gareth Swanepoel from South Africa and Darren Durham round out your top 10. Tough run for Durham. He was in podium position almost all the way to the end of that moto. Let's go back down to the podium.
Coming into today, Blake Baggett said you had the first race jitters of the season. Did you get those jitters out of the way, and are you content with that performance, Blake?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely got the jitters out of the way. I'm content with the performance. I crashed in the back, so I had to come through and pass a lot of people, but I got to give it up. Monster Energy, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Parts Unlimited, Thor, Alpine Star, Volcom, Scott, Dunlop, my mom, my dad, my girlfriend, my whole family, and the team. Thank you very much.
Congratulations on a job well done.
Who doesn't like celebrities, comedy, and music? The Daily Habit is your destination for the hottest stars, comics, and cutting-edge musical acts on TV. Watch it weeknights, 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, only on Fuel TV. Back down Aaron with our third place finisher. Aaron?
Eli Tomac getting that whole shot. Eli putting in an amazing charge out there, but you kind of slid a little bit off the pace, and you were really fired up, determined going out there.
Yeah, you know, it was obviously great to get the whole shot. And then I started putting down a couple fast few laps there, and I might have gone out a little bit hard, or it was the first moto of the year, jitters. I mean, yeah, I just rode a little bit tight, but I should be back better for the second moto.
Will you be able to duplicate what you did last year and take the overall?
I'm looking to go out there and get another whole shot like that, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Best of luck.
All right, Trey, what do you think? Strong performance for the Kawasaki boys. Do you think Tomac might be able to bounce back in Moto number 2?
Yeah, I think, you know, first race of the year, I think that Tomac had a good start and overall a good moto. You know, to start out with a podium, I think that's, you know, a good way to start it. But, man, Blake Baggett, you know, he had a 2:14 the second last lap and then backs it up with a 2:15. And,
on the last lap.
On the last lap. And, then, you know, I didn't see many people, you know, with 2:17s that whole moto. And, you know, I think he's going to be the guy to look for in the second moto. But, you know, obviously Dean Wilson, you know, getting that first moto win, that's going to be your guy to beat.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about good things coming in small packages. I mean, Blake Baggett's not a very big person, okay? And Wilson, on the other hand, he's really tall. He's got these big boots and just, you know, use that to his advantage. But, wow, what a contrast between the two riders, and to have them both first and second.
And on the same bike.
Yeah, the same bike. It's a very interesting start to the 250 championship.
Now, folks, you want to check out our second motos from Hangtown. They will be on tomorrow afternoon on Speed. That's noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific for our 250 class. Basically a 2-hour block on Speed tomorrow. Our 450 class will be on right before that. So 11 Eastern and noon Eastern Pacific, or Eastern tomorrow, to watch 450 and 250 Moto 2s on Speed. So a lot more racing action to come here from the Rockstar Energy Drink Hangtown National. So glad you folks could join us here for our first ever live motocross race here on Fuel TV. We'll be back with more right after this.
It's back, the world's greatest skateboarding event.
We are back here live on Fuel TV at Hangtown, and this is a great first moto, really indicating what a deep championship field this is. We'll give you the highlights of how this one broke down with our race recap. Jeff, it started out with one of the favorites grabbing the whole shot.
Yeah, look at Eli Tomac holding it on, sweeping around the outside, and it was one of the early season favorites. Also, Ryan Sipes, who goes down, but up front, the battle was between Wilson and Malcolm Stewart.
Yeah, Malcolm Stewart shined in his first couple laps in his first pro motocross race, but Wilson cleared him and then went after Tomac. Didn't just catch him, he passed him. And after that, he couldn't be headed. Said he had some stomach cramps, but apparently that didn't slow him down much. Dean Wilson comes out on top, moto number 1 here in California. Guy had a strong season last year as a rookie and looks to be even better as a sophomore. Meanwhile, we have a rookie in the U.S., but a man who's won some championships overseas. Mr. Marvin Musquin is on the podium with Aaron. Take it away.
4th place, not so bad considering, Marvin. You started in 11th place after that first lap. You had a lot of guys that you needed to pick through. Are you happy with your performance?
Yeah, it was a good race for me, strong race, and track is rough and a lot of braking bumps. So for me, it's completely new and different than Europe, and the start was is really short. So looking for a good start for the second moto and maybe a podium overall. So Yeah, fourth is not so bad for my first race, and I'm happy to be here finally racing outdoors AMA.
What's the biggest change that you've noticed as far as tracks go from Europe to here?
The track was very soft for the first practice, so there is a lot of ruts, a lot of braking bumps, so yeah, I have to be focused, and my KTM bike is awesome and very strong, so the team is working pretty hard. My mechanic Guillaume, my trainer Yannick Carvela, my girlfriend, so everybody is working hard, and I'm happy, very looking for this championship.
Great job out there for Moto 1.
All right, that's a fourth. That'll put him in contention possibly for the overall win, depending how it shakes down in Moto number 2.
Yeah, and that definitely was a solid moto overall for him.
Absolutely.
All the way the full 35 minutes.
So get to know this guy. He'll be in contention all year long. Here's your upcoming Fuel TV schedule. Remember, every Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, that's Thursday nights, we'll have a highlight show after each race, and then we'll be live with our first motos every week from each race. So Freestone will be our next event in Wortham, Texas. That'll start at 2 p.m. Eastern. Then we'll have a highlight show of that on Thursday night. Then round 3 from High Point in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. That'll start at live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. That's a 2-hour block of live first motos each and every time we go racing in the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Want to thank this guy, Trey Canard, for stopping by. You're 1 hour closer to returning to racing now, right?
Yeah, we're there. We're just got to keep working and, hopefully make it back somewhere in the middle of the series.
And so what sort of physical therapy right now? You said that you're swimming, cycling a little?
Yeah, I just started cycling this past week, and I'm not a very good swimmer, so that's been the best physical therapy for me.
All right, well, we hope to see Trey back in the track probably about the midway point of the year. Lots of superstars here to race even without him, and we'll be giving you the coverage all season long here on Fuel TV. So glad you could join us for the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. For Trey Canard, Jeff Emig, and Aaron Bates, I'm Jason Wygant. Thank you for joining us. Big congratulations to our first moto winners, Ryan Dungey on the 450 and Dean Wilson on the 250. We'll see you on Fuel next week and on Speed Sunday afternoon. The 250 class is wide open as the 40th season of AMA Motocross begins. Defending race winner Eli Tomac returns to the site of his first taste of pro glory. Honda's Justin Barcia and Kawasaki's Broc Tickle come into the campaign fresh off of Supercross titles earned just 2 weeks ago in Las Vegas. Scotland's Dean Wilson, France's Marvin Musquin, and South African star Tyla Rattray have come across the pond to challenge for the AMA title. The world's fastest motocross riders take to the start line as AMA Motocross returns to speed. We're in Northern California for the opening round of the 2011 Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. It's the 43rd running of the Rockstar Energy Drink Hangtown Classic. Hello, we welcome you speed fans to Northern California's Hangtown Motocross. Jason Wygant joined by 4-time AMA National Champion Jeff Emig. And this 250 class, it is wide open. And we'll give you an idea as we look at some of the big picture storylines we're going to follow this year. New challengers are going to emerge this year because the two riders that battled for last year's championship, Christophe Pourcel and Trey Canard, have moved up to the 450 division. And if you want to pick two contenders from that group of challengers, you got to look at Justin Barcia and Broc Tickle, who just wrapped up Supercross championships 2 weeks ago in Las Vegas. They have some confidence, they have some momentum. But don't forget the fast Frenchman, Marvin Musquin, moving and racing in the United States for the first time. Starting today, he won 2 championships in the Grand Prix Tour in Europe the last 2 seasons. So Jeff, we open it up to you with this class, this many riders, this many young riders that are really exciting to watch. It's going to be a great season.
Well, it certainly is, and it's the age of these riders and the lack of pro experience to a certain extent. There's just so much excitement here out of these riders. They're not afraid to bang bars, and as we get into the 24 Moto, 12 race season, physical fitness, mental strength, desire, determination, all comes into play. And let's not forget last season where this championship really did come down to the final race. So it's going to be a long, hot summer. We'll see what these guys can do.
Well, we're obviously excited about how great this year is going to be, but we're not the only ones that are pumped up. Of course, the riders have to deal with the nerves and the jitters of racing here on opening day, and we had a chance to talk to a few of them about that.
A split second before the gate drops, your nerves are crazy. But then once the gate drops, it's all gone. It's just race mode, and you know, everybody's trying to get to that first corner first.
You know, definitely have some butterflies. You're not sure where you're at, if you're gonna be in first or you're gonna be in the back of the pack, but usually you're on the start line saying, let's do it, I'm gonna win this thing, and just go out there and try to do your best.
I think every racer will be nervous. If you're not nervous, then there's a problem. I try not to be nervous, even though when you try not to be nervous, you usually get a little more nervous. So yeah, that's kind of weird. I put more pressure on myself when I'm on the start to really get out of the gate good and make sure I do a perfect start. And obviously that helps a lot.
Yeah, well, these guys look relaxed in line. There's no doubt they're nervous. Plus, they have to worry about this really, really difficult racetrack they have to race on today at Hangtown, and we'll give you an idea what it looks like from the rider's perspective with our GoPro lap. It's amazing how rough this place has gotten throughout the day. So we'll show you what it looks like from the rider's perspective, but the only one that truly understands is Jeff. You've ridden at this level.
No doubt here we're on board. I believe this is Ryan Sipes, and you can see these sections, just how rutted the track is. And this is early in the day. This is in qualifying practice as they come through, and you can see how the riders bouncing around, hit these really deep, soft braking bumps. And the track right now, guys, is smooth.
Yeah, it's a lot worse now.
In the video. Okay, the thing about this track is that it's really hard clay underneath. Up hills, down hills, gets really rutted. But they've also added what's called rice holes. It's kind of like sand, but it's made of rice, so it kind of has the effect of sand, but it's a little different. Holds the moisture, keeps the dust down. Up hills, down hills, extremely treacherous, fast. And as we make our way through the last quarter of the track already, I can tell you this is the final moto of the day. This track is beat up. It is going to test the rider's physical fitness. It's going to test the mental strength, everything here, the second moto. It's going to be a really tough moto here.
And the first moto was pretty darn tough as well. Let's take you through it off the start. No surprise who's out front early on this one. Eli Tomac grabs the whole shot, but a big crash in the center of the pack.
Yeah, that's Ryan Sipes here, one of the Yamaha favorites there, right in the middle of your screen on the blue bike that went down.
This is Dean Wilson making moves for second over Malcolm Stewart, who had a good start to his first ever pro race. And Wilson kept charging and went after Tomac for the lead.
And watch this move here as he goes around the outside of Tomac. Just really showed some speed right here and just was perfect.
But here was the guy we were talking about at the end. The 57, Blake Baggett, crashed back to 10th. Then he starts making moves. He passes Marvin Musquin. Then he gets to the inside of Justin Barcia, makes another pass. Not done yet. Goes after Darren Durham, who is running in a podium position. Makes the move on Durham. Then Durham, battling it out with Musquin just out of the podium position, goes down.
Yeah, he gets into a lap rider there as he was trying to go to the inside, and that's going to put him back in the pack after just a fantastic moto.
And incredibly late in the race, Baggett catches Tomac from nearly 15 seconds back to move into the number 2 spot. But there was no catching Dean Wilson, who took advantage of that good start, grabbed the lead, and held on to win the first moto of the year. So, a couple stories to talk about. The big moto victory for Wilson, but the last 2 laps of the moto for Baggett were faster than anyone else's laps at any point in the race. To do it at the end of the moto, that's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, literally the last 5 laps, they just kept getting faster, it seemed like. So Baggett is definitely my favorite for this moto. Let's see if he can continue on with that momentum.
I think Tomac, no, I think it's Barcia actually going to get the wheels out front. The 2 Honda riders, it is the 17 of Barcia. 28, Tyla Rattray second, Cole Steely third, and a rider down to the outside, going to take some down with him, in fact.
Well, Weege, I tell you, if I'm Justin Barcia, this is exactly what I need to get. Uh-oh, that's Musquin down.
The Frenchman, who was a solid 4th in Moto 1, he got tangled up, and he's got to come from last. Trying to show you what happened here.
Let's take a look here. This is corner number 2 at the bottom of your screen here. Oh, it was the top of your screen, the left. Two or three riders down. The 61's down.
Davalos
so look
also
for the orange bike on the right side of your screen. Here he comes in, goes wide, and Marvin actually loses it in this loose soil down in here. Just pushes the front end out. It's swallows up Davalos with him.
Austin Howell there in the 61. Wow. So he's got his work cut out for him, but how about Bam Bam Barcia? And that's classic Barcia style. All over the bike, revving the engine, all the way to the rev limiter, and also in the lead. That's where you want to be.
Well, Barcia really was just in the middle of everything last moto. Wasn't really able to ride his own race, let's say. But right now, he has the opportunity to go execute the perfect moto. Baggett was back around 6th, I believe. Not sure where Wilson was at this point, but your favorite's right up front there once again. And I'm telling you, this track, it is so rough. And the square edges right there, Barcia already gets a kick. I mean, there's bumps all the way around the track. Only maybe some of these jump faces is the only place that it's even smooth.
And right around the outside there is Baggett, the 57, who we were, of course, talking about from the first moto. He is up to 4th. And pressure being applied. He's got Wilson right behind him, Tomac right in front of him. So we got a battle going on right now. And the rider in 3rd, that's Gareth Swanepoel out of South Africa. In his first full season racing in the U.S. Not too shabby. He was top 10 in Moto 1, and he is 3rd early in Moto 2.
Yeah, he's on that DNA Shred Sticks Yamaha team, which is in 2011. This team has really came to life, and they have some veterans of the sport that are really getting up there, mixing it up with the dominance of Factory Connection and Pro Circuit, who really have dominated the 250 class.
Well, talking about mixing it up, Wilson makes the move on Baggett. So Wilson into 4th, and Baggett, he didn't look like he's happy about that. He wants to pass the 15 and move back into 4th.
Wow, there's still 27 minutes plus 2 laps in this moto. And look at the roost coming off the back of the bikes. Look at how the bikes are jumping around. There's dust coming up. There's mud flying your way, rocks.
Hard to even keep up with the action out here. This 250 class is known for this. Young riders, to give you an idea, Baggett and Wilson only turned pro last year. So this is only their 2nd year as professionals. And they are some of the fastest men in the group. So that's what makes this class so exciting to watch. You got kids who definitely know how to go fast. And sometimes they ride even a little bit over their heads trying to make passes. So these opening laps when they're all close like this are usually pretty exciting. Swanepoel holding the zone. Now, he is not one of the kids. He's a veteran, raced in Europe for years and years, wanted to take a crack at racing in the U.S. Going well, but not Wilson. How did Wilson hold on? The foot was off the peg, and he almost made the pass anyway.
Nobody does a knack-knack through the whoop section. Come on, these young riders, they're so cocky. They think they can do anything.
Okay.
Right?
It's one way to put it.
That was so close. He caught the rut with his right foot, and it kicked his right foot all the way over the rear fender. That was crazy.
And Baggett sticking right with him. He got to see that right in front. So they're going for it right now. You got Barcia in the lead, Rattray, Tomac 2nd and 3rd. It's your battle for 4th on again. Swanepoel, Wilson, and Baggett. Then it's Seeley, Durham, Kyle Cunningham, and Broc Tickle rounding out the top 10.
Swanepoel putting in a strong ride here. I mean, he's gotten the Moto 1 winner breathing down his neck right now, but he's just been solid through all of his lines, not making any mistakes, not giving Wilson an inch here.
But like we said, he's a veteran.
Here we go.
He's not going to crack under pressure, but he just might not be fast enough to hold Wilson back. Not in that section, at least. Dean Wilson moves up a spot. He is now 4th behind Tomac, Rattray, and Barcia.
Well, I'm going to give you guys, now that we finally have a lap time in the books here, Justin Barcia, 2:19, Rattray, Tomac, Wilson, and it was Swanepoel that finally kicked up to a 2:21, and Baggett at 2:20. And we know Baggett can turn some much faster lap times on this track, whether it's rough or not.
So Justin Barcia leads early, but lots of competition. I mean, you got to imagine this is just the calm before the storm. Justin Barcia out front, but Jeff Emmett, you've been commenting, he's made some mistakes, he's hitting some bumps. It's not going to be easy for him to hold this lead, especially not with strong riders like Rattray and Tomac right behind.
Yeah, but this is how Justin Barcia has earned the comparisons between himself and the great Bob Hanna, is that, okay, the bike's jumping around, that's okay, as long as the throttle,
oh! Well, he went completely opposite direction there, went over the front So normally he shrugs up those mistakes. What do we got here?
And notice right here, notice on his left foot peg, he's got a bunch of hay from that hay bale, so it looks like when he got into that inside rut that he stuck the chassis, the lower part of the chassis in the foot peg, and that's what stopped the motorcycle. Let's take another look at it. Watch as he comes down this hill right here with the lead, and this is a really difficult bumpy section. There's a right and then a left. Let's see how he drops in. Yeah, he got a little bit too far to this hay bale that's over, a little too far to his left. Watch, he kind of lifts up his left foot.
Well, we were just saying he's able to absorb all those mistakes, but not quite in that situation. Hay bale's going to stop you no matter who you are.
You got to give him a good score for that handstand.
Yeah, it was really good dismount. We still get the battling Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki riders. That's Wilson on the 15, Baggett on the 57. Dale and Herod a spot now that Barcia's down. And while they duke it out, you can see Tomac and Rattray not too far out in front of them. So the top 4 are close.
Well, and once again, just like in Moto 2, as this Moto wears on, Moto 1, Baggett seems to have found a comfort zone, and he seems to be looking around, trying to find some lines. And it looks like he's if he can find a line to pull up next to his teammate Wilson here, he's going to make the pass.
Only 10 minutes into this moto, so lots of racing yet to come. Maybe a little too early to talk about overall right now. Wilson did win the first race earlier today. Baggett was second, Tomac is third. And they're almost in the reverse order of that so far in this one. But you got a feeling that there's going to be some passes, there's going to be some action before the checkered flag comes out in this one. What does Baggett seem to find in the second half of these races? Track starts coming around for him.
Yeah, and I mean, Wilson, he's got to keep pressing all the way here because these points are going to get shuffled around. And for the overall, in the scope of the series, you're looking at 24 motos. Okay, so but when it comes to the record books, the overalls count. And we mark those and we count those. And the riders get bonuses for getting the overall.
Checks cash for winning the overall.
Yeah, so there really is incentive. Even though points-wise, you're scored separately each moto.
Yeah.
There's no points for actually earning the overall, other than that you had the most points, right?
Yeah, you certainly want to have the most points, but that doesn't pay extra money. What pays is getting the wins. The points only matter at the end of the year. Let's check in with our leader, Tyla Rattray, out of South Africa, with Eli Tomac, Colorado kid, right behind him. Rattray, very consistent, very strong. And a lot of people think in the long haul, 24 races, that he might be the one you can count on to be consistent. You don't know what you're going to get out of the kids that'll be racing him all year. Rattray's going to be there, no doubt.
Well, and it's great to see a rider from South Africa. Swanepoel also. You got Dean Wilson from Scotland. You got Musquin from France.
Yeah.
Clark from England. I mean, the top talent in the world. This is where they come to race during the summer.
And by the way, Musquin, who was down in the first turn, basically dead last, only 10 minutes completed in this moto, and he's already up to 17. So he's going to score some championship points for sure.
Which, with the rides that he had the first moto, combined with if he continues on to climb up the leaderboard in Moto 2 here, would be a candidate for the Ricky Carmichael Hard Charger Award.
Yeah, which is a rider who makes the most passes. And he's made 23 passes already. And Rattray, the leader. Aaron, what do you have on the number 28?
Well, guys, when I spoke with Tyla earlier this afternoon, he said this is the one track that he doesn't seem to vibe with, but something tells me as of right now, he's had an attitude adjustment. He said he was working extremely hard, practicing solely on testing for the outdoors, and especially speed right out of the gate. So obviously off to a good start for Tyla, and he is well excited about a fresh season because he is 100% healthy coming in.
And we got a battle for second now. Wilson leaning on Tomac. He got the spot for just a moment, and then Tomac gets it back. Rematch of the battle for the lead in Moto 1. It's now a battle for second in Moto 2. Tomac able to fight back.
Well, this is a tough position to be in because the guy behind just breathing down your neck, and Tomac briefly lost the spot right there. Here comes Wilson way around the outside, and he's got the inside line.
That is not an easy pass to make around the outside to get to the inside, but Wilson, well, maybe he was sick of hearing his teammate Baggett buzzing around behind him and says, I need a buffer here. Well, put the number 19 there.
Yeah, and what's so cool about Wilson, well, let's take a look at the Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com keys to the race here. Learn from the first moto. I think that Tomac got to start. Seemed like his bike set up and everything was good. But right now, he's going to have to regroup. And at the same race last year, he did regroup and came back to win after it looked like the overall had gone away. Right now, he's really got to talk himself through this. You got to believe in your program, your fitness, everything, and be mentally tough and believe that you can win this thing because it's not over. There's still 17 minutes plus 2 laps to go.
Losing a little bit of ground to Wilson. He has Baggett to deal with, which should soon be a race for third, while Tyla Rattray continues to lead. So you got 3 Kawasaki battling 1 Honda. Gareth Swanepoel still 5th.
Some of the biggest motorsports events of the year.
Warriors at 8, Izzi goes on a rampage, and no one is safe from his temper. Then at 9, Rich has finally pushed his team to the brink of revolt. Check out Car Warriors Wednesday night, beginning at 8 Eastern only on Speed. Battle shaping up for the lead. It's Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship Racing, Rockstar Energy Drink, Hangtown Classic, and what a classic battle shaping up here. Tyla Rattray versus Dean Wilson for the #1 spot.
Yeah, but if you're Mitch Payton and you got your Pro Circuit team, you've got 1, 2, 3 are all of your riders.
Wow. I've had a change for our folks that watching on Speed for the #3 spot. Blake Baggett able to make the move on Eli Tomac. Show us how it happened, Jeff.
Same exact spot on the track the lap before where Dean Wilson gets by Tomac. He just powers around the outside, which becomes the inside. Nice move, and once again, just like in Moto 1, late in the Moto, Blake Baggett is on the move.
And there's not a very big gap even back to him. As we race toward the finish line area, we can give you the latest as far as the splits. There's the 28. You can visually see the gap between he and Wilson, but there was just a hint of green fender of Baggett, not too far behind. 3.3 seconds, that's the difference between your leader and your third place rider, all of them on the exact same motorcycle. So it's rider versus rider at this point.
Yeah, and just to remind you, the top 5 from Moto 1 was Wilson, Baggett, Tomac, Musquin, and Rattray was 5th. Okay, so that 5th is really going to hurt him as far as the overall. Still continues to lead this Moto, and the overall really is between Tomac, Baggett, and Wilson, and at this point, Wilson's got it in the bag. But still, 13 minutes plus 2 laps.
Yeah, with all the action you've seen of this motor, you would think that we're headed down to the finish, but we're only just past halfway.
But the way that the points would work out, if Baggett moved up to seconds, let's say, that second's not going to be enough for him to win the overall.
Progressive whole shot replay, Jeff, take us through this one.
The Geico Honda, Justin Barcia was out front. Most riders got through clean, but watch the orange fender and the bike goes down. That's the reigning world champion, Marvin Musquin, down, and he's up to 12th now as we watch the battle for the lead, all the way up to 12th.
In just over half the race, he has passed 28 riders. So you're not going to see him probably on the podium today, top 3 overall or anything like that, but the points he is earning, salvaging, I should say, could loom large later in the year. But right now, we'll focus back on the leaders. Tyla Rattray, Dean Wilson, Blake Baggett. And as Aaron Bates told us earlier, this has been a track that has not brought much success for Tyla Rattray, but obviously what he's learned here the last 2 years, put those notes to work, figured out the problem, leading them around this time.
Well, and as you look at 57 here, Blake Baggett, he needs to win this Moto to win the overall, because you get that extra points gap. There's a 3 points gap between first and second. It goes 25, 22, 20, 18, 16, right? And that's the incentive to actually win the Moto and just not to be consistent. And Wilson has got that on his side right now, that even if he gave up the position, it still wouldn't be enough.
You know, I almost feel like he heard you saying that, because it looks like the 57 is starting to get a move on here and realizes, I got to go after Wilson. I got to win this Moto to win the overall for the day. And lo and behold, here he comes again. He ran at 2:17. Rattray and Wilson ran 2:18 lap time. So Baggett's the fastest rider on the track.
Here he goes, and look at the line choice that he's had. He has just been spectacular today, trying the same move on his teammate.
Yeah.
Got to get on the binders.
I showed you that move. Don't use my move on myself. That's where they both passed Tomac. And Baggett figured it out by seeing Wilson do it.
Baggett riding the long way around here. Getting into the markers there a little bit, but look how he's able to get into those inside ruts. Just so proud of this second-year rider here, Blake Baggett, for the ride that he's put in today.
You know, Baggett, it was really funny. He only raced 3 rounds last year, then he broke his arm. His upper arm, by the way, if you want to think about how painful that injury would be. And I was talking to him a couple weeks ago, and he joked around. He said, no, I was all good last year. I lost fewer races than anyone else in the series.
Yeah,
I only lost 3 races.
Attitude is everything. And that's, I believe that's called the humerus, right?
Well, it was pretty funny what he said, yeah.
Nothing humorous about it.
Nothing humorous about a broken humerus. So Baggett, we thought he was putting in the charge, but it looks like Wilson put his pace back up, and now he pulls back away from Baggett. This is going to be really interesting down to the closing moments.
For 125 years, Sunoco's been propelling people forward to their destinations.
This battle continues to rage for second place at the Rockstar Energy Drink Hangtown Classic. The number 15, Dean Wilson. The number 57, Blake Baggett. They are in second and third place. Or will it soon swap? Baggett's going to try this outside line again, Jeff Emig.
Let's see, he's got him. Oh, Wilson goes down!
And he's in a bad spot. His bike is basically going to be upside down. Oh, he got lucky. He could have easily had that machine tumble to the bottom of the hill.
Fourth place is Eli Tomac. They had a good 15 seconds over the number 19 on the Honda of Eli Tomac. So let's see if it looks like he's going to retain third place here.
I'd say the only question is, can he get his pace back to where it was? Sometimes when you have a crash like that, it's difficult to find your rhythm again.
Yeah, and you never know if when he hit that hay bale, if he bent the shifter, the clutch lever, or anything like that.
Well, let's take another look here, Jeff. You can take us through. We were focused on Baggett on the outside.
Well, and that's because the pressure was on, okay? And then Dean's trying to stay on the throttle, and he just gets his weight a little far to the left.
Oh.
Gets into one of the cameramen there even.
And like I said, that's a pretty big drop off. The TV cameras don't exactly show you how bad that is. But luckily the bike got stuck on that hay bale.
Yeah, he was really fortunate that the bike didn't tumble on down the hill, but he was holding strong. The battle was on, and now Blake Baggett's putting the pressure on.
Well, the battle's on, and the calculators are out because we got to figure out the overall. If it ends like this, Wilson, I believe, would still win the overall with a first and a third. That would be 1 spot better than the second that Baggett would have. But 7 minutes, 10 seconds, and 2 laps left for Baggett to try to steal the lead from Rattray. And if he does that, he'll win this race. So it's really down to these two. However, if you want to pick one guy that's going to be hard to pass in the latter stretches of a moto, it's Tyla Rattray. This guy is strong. Yeah, exactly. So what's going to happen? We don't know. You just got to keep on watching. Speed's coverage of the loop. Tyla Rattray under pressure from the 57, Blake Baggett. Kid out of California going after a veteran out of South Africa. This is exactly the way Baggett did in the first moto earlier today. Late in the race, he's finding something extra. On the inside, here we go. He still wanted to take that outside line through that section, so there wasn't enough room to make the pass.
Hey, Rattray's being stingy with this moto win. He doesn't want to give it up. And think about it, this is 25 points for the win towards the championship, whether he's got the overall or not. His secondary. But I tell you, Rattray, he's riding a solid line. He's not making any mistakes. He's just really making Baggett earn it at this point.
We talk about earning. You know, Baggett rode for Kawasaki and Pro Circuit as an amateur. But when he graduated from the amateur ranks, basically only had 1 spot open, and they gave that spot to Dean Wilson. And those two were actually rivals as amateurs. Baggett wasn't happy about it. He rode Suzuki's last year. And then after a pretty solid season, at least early outdoors, Mitch Payton called him up and said, sorry about that. We got room for you now. We'll have both you and Wilson race for us. And he is making good in second, going after Rattray. If he wins this moto, he wins the overall. If not, Wilson might still edge him for the overall of the day. But let's just focus on this race right now. Rattray against Baggett for the second moto win.
I mean, 2 totally different individuals. I mean, Rattray, he has a child, you know, has ridden on the world stage, Grand Prix motocross and all that. And Baggett is a product of the American amateur motocross system.
Baggett tries to make the move on the inside. Can't make it happen. As we said before, right now he has 2 second-place finishes, so Wilson, who would have a first and a third, would win the race for the day. If Baggett can make the pass on Rattray, he will not only win the Moto, he will be your overall winner in 2 motos. That's how it works in motocross.
What's interesting, Jason, here is that Baggett made a couple of big mistakes last lap around and really seemed to have no problem getting back on the rear tire of Rattray. It just, at any time, see right through there, he kind of went off the track last lap, but you see this time, threads the needle, and he might have some momentum to go around the outside or possibly square him up coming back down the hill.
He's going to try to run that outside. Now he switches back. Rattray, this is a tremendous amount of pressure that he is dealing with everywhere he goes. Baggett has shown him a wheel, shown him a fender. He just doesn't care. Here we go. Handful of throttle. And Baggett was close a lap ago, and this time he makes it stick.
Wow. Just threaded the needle between the lapper. He set that up. He visualized it. He's been planning that this whole race. You start to feel where your lines are, and he set that up the turn before.
Unbelievable charge by Blake Baggett. We talked at the beginning of the day about how deep the field was, what competition we had in this class, but the laps he has put in late in Moto 1, late in Moto 2, he has made a statement.
I mean, this is a second-year rider that this is his 4th AMA Motocross.
He got a few in, remember, after his amateur days in 09, but yeah, basically coming in with a full series ready to go. Yeah. 4 times.
Hey, couple minutes plus a couple laps here. He could be on his way to the record book, being the overall winner here at the Hangtown Classic. One of the longest running motocross races here in the U.S.
Absolutely. Blake Baggett pulling away now from Rattray. He kind of had a feeling that once he got some running room, he would be able to put some distance between himself, but any mistake and Rattray can get him back. There's still enough time, 2 minutes and 2 laps.
Baggett turned a 2:17 last lap. Rattray was a 2:19.9, so basically a 2:20. That was about a 3-second swing there for Baggett that time. But he also, you can see the blue flags waving, and some of the lapped riders in the line here. And if these guys are riding in the fast line and it doesn't allow Blake to ride the lines that he wants, that's when a rider like Rattray, if he still keeps charging, keep pushing and doesn't give up on it, can close it back up and maybe capitalize on Baggett being in the lapped riders.
A couple of days ago, talked to David Pingree, who used to ride for this team and actually wore the number 57. And he said he had some inside information that when the Pro Circuit team was out testing, every single time Blake Baggett was putting in the fastest lap, someone would raise the mark, he would go back out and beat it. He predicted that this guy would take the win, and so far so good for Baggett. The team kind of sensed it. Very impressive. So as he pulls away from Rattray and Wilson is in 3rd, it could be a podium sweep for the Monster Pro Circuit team. But with all the credentials of Rattray, all the credentials of Wilson, and Broc Tickle, who we haven't seen much of the Supercross Championship, it's maybe the forgotten rider on the team, Baggett, who might lead them all the way to the finish.
He's on his way.
Pulling away down the stretch. We'll be back with more. Try to give you some highlights of past races here at Hangtown. Wednesday, Car Science breaks down the technology and science of what moves you. It's a high-octane half hour of cold, hard facts that'll blow your mind. Car Science, Wednesday at 10 Eastern on Speed. 40th season of AMA Motocross. All year long, we're going to highlight some great stories from the history of this great sport. Today, a story from 3-time 125 champ Mark Barnett.
The National Series always opened with the Hangtown Classic in Plymouth, California. A long way from Chicago when you're 16. Too long for mothers and their kids' favorite music.
We loaded up the van and me and Mom drove all the way to Hangtown from Chicago.
Mark had to have his music.
Had it to the floor all the way, listening to 40 hours of Jimi Hendrix and eating ham sandwiches.
For 45 hours, I had to listen to Jimi Hendrix. I didn't think I ever wanted to hear that man sing again.
Hey, That's music to the ears of Jeff Emmett.
You gotta love it. The purple haze just.
Whew, you probably wish you had driven to the races yourself so you had more time to listen to your own tapes.
Hey, I drove in a box van, unlike the young kids here like Baggett. He's been flying, working out of semis and 18-wheelers the whole time. Just, they have no idea what it's like to work out of a box van at a national.
I knew we'd get some sort of young kids comment.
Look who's getting Barcia.
Just led this race, yeah. And Barcia, we can tell you, is in 18th place. Led this race early on, so that is a major, major loss of points.
And up from last place, Musquin.
What?
Up to 6th place at the moment, and he's got Swanepoel in his sights. He's not far behind him.
That is unbelievable. 6th place after starting this one on the ground in last.
Well, that's an indicator that the KTM rider from France probably has a good chance of running with these leaders here if he starts with them, right? So gaining some experience, but this is a confidence booster here because first moto, we heard Baggett actually said that he fell, and that's why he got kicked back so far, and he rode up to the front of the pack, up to the leaders way at the end, and this time he didn't wait till the last lap to put his charge on. He's done it with a few laps to go, put himself in a position now to go 2-1. 47 points on the day, give him the overall and the points lead to start the series up.
Be the first ever AMA Motocross win for Blake Baggett. First time he's ever been in the points lead. And what a great journey it has been for his parents. I don't know if they had to listen to Led Zeppelin or Jimi Hendrix through the years, but you know the family well.
Yeah, I'm sure
They've put it in. They probably did, as a matter of fact.
Classic rock there.
But that family's put a lot of miles on the road getting their kid to amateur races and basically making this dream come true.
I've known Blake since he was just a little guy. I used to ride motorcycles with his uncle. I've known his parents forever. And I remember all through his amateur career, the family was so dedicated to amateur motocross here in the U.S. And Blake is one of those riders that has done the whole program, all the way through. And it's a proud moment to see him have this sort of rides and this sort of results. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, 10 years ago was the first time I ever went to the big amateur national at Red Lynn Ranch, and the Kawasaki people were like, we got this kid on a 65cc motorcycle named Blake Baggett. Watch him.
Yeah.
10 years later, it's paid off.
Yeah, and his uncle, we used to call him Skeeter. And I'm thinking we may have to start calling him, even though it's his uncle, calling him Little Skeeter out there or something. And, yeah, he definitely needs a nickname because we're going to be talking about this kid a lot this year.
Well, the 57 should be #1 today if he can hang on for a few more corners. And when we go to our second round in Texas next weekend, he will wear the ceremonial red plate. Replace the black backgrounds behind the number with red because he will be your series points leader. And it seems like an annual ritual where we talk about the amazing rides for this Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki team. They are 1, 2, 3 in this moto. But passing his teammates, working his way to the front, Blake Baggett. Yeah, well done, you think?
Wow.
What a statement. Blake Baggett wins Hangtown. Incredible. And look at the lead he ended up with Rattray. Once he got clear track, this thing was over. Put it on ice. We'll wait for Rattray to come around. Here he is. Good run for Rattray. He'll have a 5th and a 2nd on the day. So he's right there in the championship.
13-second lead over Rattray, and Wilson still has quarter of the lap to go.
Yeah, well, Wilson got, it could have been worse. He did tangle over the hay bale and go down. Luckily, he was able to only lose 1 spot, so solid points for him.
Yeah, that's an incredible ride to come back after that fall, because at that point, your body just totally wants to, this is Barcia. He's completely, well, he was lapped.
Yeah, so Barcia way back. That's not where he wanted to be. He's 18th. Meanwhile, the 15 of Wilson will take 3rd of the moto. He won the first race earlier today. So really, if you're on Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki and your name is Blake Baggett, Tyla Rattray, or Dean Wilson, you're happy. We'll be right back. Well, Northern California motocross fans, they got to watch some great racing today. And if for some reason you missed it all, we can show you exactly what went down with our race recap. And a banner day for the Kawasaki boys. Lucas Oil bringing the recap here. Justin Barcia was out front early, the number 17 Geico Honda. But he was under some serious pressure, and then he made a big mistake here, Jeff.
Huge mistake, handstand over the bars as he catches a tough block, and really his day, his moto just went downhill quick, and then Wilson makes a similar mistake. He gets into a tough block in a similar area of the track. He was able to remount and hold his position, but that cost him the overall right there.
So battle for the lead is on between Tyla Rattray and Blake Baggett. And Baggett kept trying, and then finally found the room in that corner to take the lead. And then he pulled away from there. 13 seconds with the final margin of victory. This kid's on fire. Show you the results. A couple other riders we want to mention. Eli Tomac, 53 seconds back at the end of that one in fourth. Probably not happy about that. But Gareth Swanepoel, great ride for top 5.
And I'm telling you, sixth, Marvin Musquin from France. He was down in the second turn all the way up to sixth. This kid's got some heart, he's got some speed, and he will be there throughout the rest of this championship.
Well, we know where Erin Bates is going to be. She's on podium. Erin.
Very impressive ride for Blake Baggett. Blake, only your 4th outdoor ever of your career, and you walk away from Hangtown with taking the overall win. What is this moment like for you?
Yeah, it's definitely really good. You know, last year I ended up getting hurt, so I couldn't ride on pretty much all the races. But you know, I went back home, got my arm fixed, got to ride with Mitch Payton. I got to give it up to him. Monster Energy, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Thor, Parts Unlimited, Scott, Volcom, Vans, Dunlop, everybody. My mom, my dad, my girlfriend, Mitch, especially. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be up here.
Coming into today, when I asked you who you thought were going to be your biggest competitors, you had said to me it was going to be your teammates. That was proven here today. What do you go home and work on now?
You know, I just need to work on my starts. I came around, I think, 5th, 6th, both Moto, so just need to go back, work on my starts, and sprinting right off the bat. I'm good towards the end of the Moto, but I really need to work on the beginning. But, you know, I'm pumped. I think all of us maybe went 1, 2, 3, so that's cool.
Congratulations on a job well done.
Give you the upcoming schedule, the next set of races that this Pro Circuit team will try to sweep the podium on. We'll be feeling the heat next week in Texas. We check out the Toyota moving forward schedule for the series, and we'll cover that one May 28th at 11 p.m. Eastern on Speed. It's off to the hills of Mount Morris, Pennsylvania on June 11th, 10 p.m. Eastern. Then it's Budds Creek, the hills of Maryland, in Mechanicsville, 11 p.m. Eastern on June 18th, and then it will be a mile high up outside of Denver, Thunder Valley in Lakewood, Colorado on June 26th. Run the gauntlet in this series. Every type of weather and soil condition you can imagine, these guys are going to have to face it, so just because Baggett won today does not necessarily mean it's going to happen all season long. That's why you got to keep watching every single round of this championship. Stay with us.
Speed is home to the roughest racing in NASCAR. It's edge of your seat excitement. Catch the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series all season long, live on Speed. Jarrett, Petty, Allison, Moore, and Pearson are enshrined. The 2011 NASCAR Hall of Fame induction ceremony, live Monday at 8 Eastern, exclusively on Speed.
Welcome back to Geico Radio. It's savings on the radio.
Call us, Steve. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I just got a free rate quote on Geico.com. Saved a ton, and it only took me 5.
All right, we are back here in the hills of Northern California, just outside of Sacramento. Lots of fans still here, and they got to see some great racing. Here are your overall results for the day. You add up the points. Blake Baggett has it. Dean Wilson, Tyla Rattray, 3 Kawasaki riders. They sweep the podium. Marvin Musquin, who had some bad luck today, still salvages a 5th. Gareth Swanepoel, 6th.
Yeah, and so D&H Red 6 Yamaha, 6th and 7th overall. And they're starting to creep up in there to put some pressure on these other top teams.
Darren Durham in the top 10. He's a privateer, doesn't have the support from the big OEM manufacturers. Finishes 8th. Let's go down to Erin.
It was going all right for Dean Wilson when he was sitting in 2nd place, and then you ended up getting tangled up with that hay bale. Dean, what happened from your perspective?
Yeah, you know, I was in 2nd trying to catch Tyla, and, you know, I was just coming up the hill, and I knew Blake was, you know, coming for me. And went up, and once I got to the top, my front wheel just washed out, and, you know, once it hooked up, it sent me right into the hay bales and knocked down a couple of photographers. And a bit disappointed, I mean, because I wasn't expecting to come in with a win, and then when you come in with a win, you want to win again. And had the overall in my hands at that point, but it wasn't going to be easy with Blake behind me. But, yeah, I had a few sketchy moments out there, but I was giving it 100%, and that's all you can ask.
Dean, take us through the crash, and exactly did you experience any injury at all, or was it just a matter of getting your bike up right?
No, I'm good. I mean, it's just, you know, once I got up, I was lucky enough to be in 3rd still, and, you know, I didn't get past or nothing except from Blake. So, you know, I really can't complain too much. I'm 100%. I'm good. You know, I'd just like to thank everybody. Monster Energy, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Thor, Dunlop, my mechanic, Paul, Toyota Escondido for my truck, Vans, everybody else. Thank you.
Job well done today.
Fuel your passion for motorcycle racing with Speed Motorcycle Text Alerts by Yamaha. Get the latest moto racing results and breaking news as soon as they become available, sent right to your phone. Text Moto to Speed 3 for the alerts. Do it right now. Let's go back to the podium with Aaron and our third place finisher.
Tyla definitely had his hands full with teammates around you, but Tyla, you've got to be pretty excited about the outcome of your first race back, especially how you were telling me earlier that this track and you just didn't vibe.
Yeah, definitely. It was a tough race. The track got really rough and made it hard, to get into a good rhythm, which I did, and Blake managed to pass me with like 4 laps to go, so he was riding really good, and just want to thank all the guys from Monster Energy, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Parts Unlimited, Thor, Vans, Volcom, Tracks, just everyone. Thank you.
How difficult was it to make a pass today with different line choices, not only lappers included, but also how much the track had deteriorated?
It made it tough. It was, you had to really take your time to pass someone and set it up, and but all in all, it was a good day for our team. I'm really pumped for them, and we went 1, 2, 3, so it was awesome.
Got some upcoming races. Next week we'll be in Freestone, Texas, which I bet you will probably be in the 90-degree range, so it'll be a true test for the riders. That'll be Saturday, May 28th. Our 250 class Moto 2 coverage on Speed at 11 Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Pacific. So, Jeff Emig, let's talk a little bit about this. So many contenders that we highlighted at the beginning of the show. I don't know how many people were counting on this type of performance from Blake Baggett. A lot of established champions, but he beat them all today.
Yeah, he definitely showed that he is ready for this championship. And I tell you, the fans had just a beautiful day of racing 2 years in a row here at Hangtown.
Let's talk to their team manager at Pro Circuit. Aaron's got Mitch Payton.
That's right, Mitch. What a day it was for you. What a start to the season. Take us through the excitement, your thoughts looking forward.
No, it was awesome. I mean, everybody was up front, like Blake rode an awesome race today, with falling down the first moto and coming through. That was awesome. Dean rode really good, good speed out of him. Tyla, the first moto with a 5th and then leading the whole time. A little bit more out, last part of the moto, and he would have been good. And then, Broc had an off day, but fell down the first moto and had a little bit of problem the second, but we'll be good. I'm pumped.
Congratulations on the green sweep.
Yeah, I bet he's pumped. Well done, boys. For Aaron Bates and Jeff Emig, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for joining us. And a big congratulations. Dean Wilson wins our first moto today, goes down in Moto 2. Then Blake Baggett makes a move on Tyla Rattray to grab the lead, and that would be enough to not only win the second moto today, but win the overall. So, in a field full of riders coming off momentum from Supercross, riders from overseas, the young kid from California takes the win. Congratulations, Blake Baggett.